Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins was swept off the field Thursday after he injured his left knee. It has become a reflex for Phillies managers. If there was a game on schedule in the last 5 years, it was almost certain that Rhys Hoskins had his name on squad card. Hoskins made his major league debut on August 10, 2017. Since then, the Phillies have played 776 games, including postseason. Hoskins launched 670 or 86% of these, and 463 startups are coming in at the first stage. Since 2019, only Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson, Paul Goldschmidt, Pete Alonso and Anthony Rizzo have played more games in the first stage. But Hoskins tore the anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee on Thursday at a Grapefruit League game in Clearwater, Florida. It is unloaded from the car and taken away for tests. It didn't look good, and it wasn't. Rhys Hoskins' heartbreaking knee injury means Nick Castellanos can no longer hide doctors recommended an ACL reconstruction. Additional details, the date of procedure, surgeon performing it, and recovery timeline will be determined, according Phillies. But Mayo Clinic suggests it typically takes 8-12 months for athletes return play. It's devastating for Hoskins, who was free after the season. But since opening day is set for next Thursday in Texas, team officials must also start thinking about a life without him, namely playing in the first stage and delivering 30 homers. 100 RBI mid-row production from right. There's little the Phillies can do about the latter other than to hope Nick Castellanos' stick returns from last season. External possibilities may arise. Experienced first baseman DH Luke Voit, for example, could opt out of his minor league contract on Friday if the Brewers don't add him to their roster. A right-handed hitter, Voit threw a .710 plus heavy 22 homers at base last season for the Padres and Nationals. First, the Phillies will evaluate their on-premises solutions. Here's a look at a few potential scenarios BohmSosa plans. Some team officials will argue that the best fit without Hoskins is with Alec Bohm moving from the field to first base and assistant fielder Edmundo Sosa taking over for third place. When the Phillies bought Sosa last summer in return for a line with the Cardinals, they believed he could play every day. Thomson loves his defense and athleticism, even using him in midfield this spring. It may be tempting to write Sosa's name on the lineup card more regularly. He's a really good player, Thomson said earlier in spring practice. He's breaking balls now. He's not chasing that much. He's dynamic. He grabs the floor, shakes the stick. He's a good player. Hall Clemens' plan when Bryce Harper broke his thumb last June. The Phillies summoned left-handed Darick Hall from the AAA, using him almost entirely as a DH against right-handed pitches, and followed by 9 homers and 0.522 in 136 innings. This spring, 27-year-old is competing for the substitute and leading team with 5 Grapefruit League home runs. Oh, and guess what position Hall played in the minor leagues? Yes, first stage. Read Phillies Darick Hall finds success by controlling my own destiny on plate, but it's not as simple as installing Hall for Hoskins. There's a reason the Phillies rarely allowed Hall to play lefties last season. He hit .175, .242, against them in AAA compared to .280, .344, .601 against the Righteous. In first week of the season, Phillies could face Rangers lefties Andrew Heaney and Martin Perez, and Yankees lefties Nestor Cortes. From Braves ace Max Fried to Marlins Jesus Luzardo and Trevor Rogers, they'll have their fill of tough lefties in NL East as well. Hoskins' status could increase Kody Clemens' chances of getting into the team. He played in juniors and in the first stage with Tigers last season. He also performed well in the fives competition for the 2 reserve places this spring. Like Hall, Clemens is a left-handed hitter, but his clefts aren't that obvious. He even scored his first major league homer against Diamondbacks All-Star left-handed sidekick Joe Mantiply last season. Bohm flexible plan. The optimal scenario for replacing Hoskins might involve Hall on stage 1 against right-handed shooters and Bohm versus left-handers. But would the Phillies really introduce Bohm to the challenge of switching positions? Above all else, Bohm remains a thriving player and comes out of a groundbreaking season. He also transforms into a stable third baseman, and the Phillies are tied to him in this position. Despite Hoskins' defensive shortcomings and existing DH at-bats while Harper was recovering from Tommy John's elbow surgery, Bohm didn't get a lot of practice replays in the first stage and started in just one Grapefruit League game there. Read why Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh are key to making the Phillies make a big splash in 2023, but circumstances changed when Hoskins exploded his knee. Maybe the Phillies' Bohm plan will work too.